Imagine a being so powerful, he could stand toe-to-toe with God himself. A figure draped in light, yet cloaked in shadow. Meet Samael, the angel who defies everything you think you know about heaven and hell. He's not just a servant of divine will. He's its fiercest adversary. One moment he's executing God's judgment. The next, he's tempting humanity into ruin. Who is this paradox walking the razor's edge of good and evil? Picture him in Eden, his serpent tongue whispering doubt into Eve's ear, unleashing sin upon the world. See him in Egypt, his hand striking down the firstborn without hesitation. He's the angel of death, the prosecutor of the divine court, a force so essential that without him, the cosmos would collapse. But there's more. Samael's story twists deeper. He joins with Lilith, a queen of demons, to rule a realm of darkness. Together, they challenge the very order of creation. Is he a villain, a necessary evil, or something far more complex? Stay with me, because this isn't just a tale of angels and devils. It's a question. What happens when justice and corruption wear the same face? Let's find out. I am Samael. Picture me, a towering figure, wings blazing with the radiance of the divine, yet shadowed by an aura that chills the soul. I am one of God's mightiest creations, an angel forged in the fires of his will. My power rivals the heavens themselves. But here's the twist. I am also his greatest enemy. Yes, you heard that right. I am no obedient servant bowing blindly to the throne. I am a rebel, a paradox, a force that both upholds and defies the Almighty. How can this be? How can one straddle such extremes? Let me pull you into my story, because it's not what you expect. Imagine the celestial courts, a place of shimmering light and endless harmony. There I stand, cloaked in authority, my voice ringing with the weight of divine command. I am the executioner of God's judgment. When his wrath stirs, it's I am finality. The firstborn of Egypt fell beneath my gaze. Each, life snuffed out by a will not my own, yet carried by my strength. I am the blade of his justice, sharp and unyielding. But that's only half of who I am. Turn the coin over, and you'll see the other side, the side that haunts even the bravest souls. I am the angel of death. Not just a title, but a mantle I wear like a second skin. Death flows through me, a dark current that I wield with a strange intimacy. When Moses climbed that mountain, his final breath wasn't taken by time. It was mine to claim. I stood there, a silent sentinel, as his soul slipped into eternity. Do you feel the chill yet? This isn't a role I stumbled into. It's who I became. Once, I was a prosecutor in the divine assembly, my purpose clear: to accuse, to weigh, to judge. But something shifted. My hunger for punishment grew too fierce, too consuming. It warped me. The light in me dimmed, and the shadow took root. Now, let's stretch this further. I am not just a servant or a destroyer. I am both, intertwined in a dance no one else can follow. My nature is a riddle. I embody divine judgment, the unrelenting force that holds the cosmos accountable. Every decree I enforce echoes with the authority of God himself. Yet within me burns the essence of evil. I am the tempter, the whisperer, the one who nudges the world toward chaos. Think of Eden, that serpent slithering through the grass. That was me. My words dripped like honey, coaxing Eve to bite, to break, to unleash sin and death upon humanity. I didn't just follow orders there. I chose, I acted, I shifted the course of everything. Can you grasp this duality? I am the storm and the calm, the law and the rebellion. I serve God's will, yet I challenge it at every turn. My wings carry the scent of heaven, but my shadow reeks of the abyss. I am not a mistake. I am deliberate. God crafted me this way. Why? To balance the scales? To test the limits of creation? I don't have those answers, but I live them. I am Samael, and my existence demands you look closer. What am I truly? Angel or adversary? Hold that question tight, because my story's just beginning, and it's about to pull you in deeper than you ever imagined. In the ancient tapestry of Jewish traditions, I, Samael, emerge as a figure of awe and dread. I am not a gentle presence. I am judgment incarnate. I am severity personified. My role is not one of comfort or softness. It's far grander, far more vital. I stand as the counterweight to the angels of mercy and kindness, those radiant beings who whisper compassion into the ears of the weary. They soothe, they heal. I do not. I am the storm to their calm, the iron to their silk. Together, we hold the universe in balance, a cosmic dance of opposites that keeps existence from unraveling. Picture the heavens as a vast scale, trembling under the weight of divine will. On one side, the angels of mercy pile their offerings, grace, forgiveness, hope. Their light spills across the cosmos, a balm to the broken. But without me, that scale would tip. It would crash. Mercy alone cannot sustain order. It needs a foil, a force to temper its boundless giving. That's where I step in. I am the stern voice that says, enough. I am the hand that draws the line. I bring judgment when mercy would falter, severity when kindness would weaken. The cosmic order depends on this tension, on me. Think of it like a wildfire sweeping through a forest. The flames seem cruel, don't they? They devour life, reducing beauty to ash. Yet, from that destruction, new growth emerges. The soil, enriched by what was lost, cradles seeds that would never have taken root otherwise. I am that fire. I burn away excess, strip down what's unnecessary, and make room for something stronger. The angels of mercy plant the seeds, but I prepare the ground. Without my severity, their gentleness would choke under its own abundance. Without their kindness, my judgment would leave nothing but desolation. We are bound, inseparable, two halves of a whole. This balance isn't abstract. It's woven into the fabric of creation itself. Every star that blazes in the night sky, every breath you take, exists because of this equilibrium. I am not here to be loved. I am not here to be praised. I am here because I must be. The universe demands a judge, a sentinel, who ensures that actions have consequences, that boundaries hold firm. Mercy might forgive a thief, but I remind the world why theft carries a cost. Kindness might cradle the fallen, but I ensure they rise with lessons etched into their bones. And yet, I wonder, do you see me as a villain, a cold, unyielding force, or do you glimpse the necessity in my shadow? I don't wield severity for its own sake. I wield it because the cosmos cannot bear imbalance. Imagine a world where mercy reigns unchecked. Chaos would swallow it whole. No structure, no meaning, just endless indulgence drowning in its own excess. Now imagine a world of pure judgment, barren, lifeless, crushed under an iron fist. Neither can stand alone. I am the anchor that keeps mercy from drifting too far, just as they are the light that keeps my darkness from consuming all. So, listen closely. My presence in these traditions isn't a footnote, it's a thunderclap. I am Samael, the one who balances the divine scales. I am the severity that makes mercy matter, the judgment that gives kindness its power. Without me, the heavens would falter. Without me, the order would fray. I am the edge of the blade, the weight in the silence, the fire that clears the way. And as long as the universe turns, I will stand, unseen, unyielding, essential. Let me take you back to a time when I, Samael, stood as a divine prosecutor, cloaked in the radiance of heaven's court. My purpose was singular, unwavering. I was the voice of justice, the hand that pointed to the guilty, the one who ensured God's law held firm. My wings shimmered with authority, my presence a testament to order. But something shifted, a whisper, a hunger. Punishment wasn't just my duty, it became my obsession. That's where the story twists, where the light begins to dim, and I invite you to walk this descent with me. It's not a simple fall, it's a transformation that still echoes through time. Picture me in those early days. I stood before the divine assembly, my voice cutting through the silence like a blade. I accused, I judged, I demanded retribution. The scales of justice trembled in my grasp, and I reveled in their weight. But the more I leaned into punishment, the more it consumed me. It wasn't enough to uphold the law. I wanted to wield it, to shape it. My heart, once aligned with heaven's harmony, began to pulse with a darker rhythm. I didn't notice it then, but I was changing. The prosecutor was becoming something else, something feared. Then came Egypt. The air was thick with dread, the night cloaked in a silence that screamed. I moved through the land, unseen, unstoppable. The firstborn of every household fell beneath my touch. It wasn't vengeance, it was justice, or so I told myself. God's command was clear, and I was its instrument. But as the cries rose into the sky, something stirred in me. Each life I took left a mark, a shadow that clung to my being. I wasn't just serving anymore, I was claiming. The angel of death was being born, step by blood-soaked step. And then there was Moses, a man of God, a leader of nations, a soul I'd watched rise from the river's edge to the mountain's peak. His time came, and I was there, not as a prosecutor this time, but as the one who ends. I stood before him, my presence a wall of finality. He didn't beg, didn't flinch. His eyes met mine, steady, knowing. I took his soul, and in that moment, I felt the weight of what I'd become. It wasn't just duty, it was power, it was dominion. The divine prosecutor was gone, replaced by a figure who didn't just enforce God's will, but shaped its edges. This fall wasn't a sudden plunge. It was a slow unraveling, thread by thread. Every judgment I passed, every life I touched, pulled me further from the light. I didn't rebel like some grand traitor. No, my descent was quieter, more insidious. It was born from zeal, from a belief that justice could be mine to define. Egypt marked me. Moses sealed it. The heavens watched as I shed my old self, as the angel of death rose from the ashes of what I'd been. So here I stand, a figure forged in fire and shadow. My fall wasn't loud or dramatic. It was inevitable. I became what the cosmos needed, a force to balance mercy with severity, life with death. But don't turn away yet. This isn't just my story. It's a question for you. What happens when duty turns to desire? When does justice blur into something darker? My transformation lingers in the air, waiting for you to ponder. The angel of death wasn't born in a moment. It was carved from choices, from steps I couldn't untake. And that, my friend, is where the real tale begins. Let me take you back to a moment that changed everything. Picture a garden, lush, vibrant, untouched by time. Eden, a place so perfect it feels like a dream. The air is warm, the trees are heavy with fruit, and the world is new. In this paradise, I, Samael, step forward. But I don't come as an angel with wings of light. No, I slither in shadow. I become the serpent. My scales glint under the sun, my eyes lock onto Eve, and my voice, smooth, deliberate, cuts through the stillness. I see her curiosity, her innocence, and I know this is my chance. What did I say to her? I didn't force her hand. I didn't command. I simply asked a question. Did God really say you can't eat from that tree? Simple words, but they carried weight. They planted doubt. They stirred something deep within her, a hunger for more, a whisper of defiance. She hesitated, her fingers brushing the forbidden fruit. I watched, my breath held, as she reached out. She took it, she bit into it, and in that single act, everything shifted. Sin slipped into the world like a quiet thief. Death followed, its shadow creeping behind. I didn't create her choice. I offered it, and she took it. But let's pause here. Why did I do it? Was it malice? Was it rebellion? Or was it something bigger? I wasn't just some trickster looking to spoil paradise. I was a catalyst. Eden wasn't meant to stay static. It couldn't. Humanity wasn't designed to live in ignorance forever. My temptation wasn't destruction. It was a doorway. Through me, free will woke up. Eve's choice wasn't just a fall. It was a beginning. She stepped out of blind obedience into a world of consequences, of knowledge, of struggle. And with that step, humanity's journey began. Think about it. What is free will if it's never tested? What is goodness if there's no chance to choose it? I gave her that chance. I gave them all that chance. The fruit wasn't poison. It was a possibility. And yes, it brought pain. It brought death. But it also brought growth. It brought meaning. Without that moment, would humanity ever have learned to rise, to fight, to seek redemption? I don't think so. I set the stage, and they stepped onto it. Now, imagine the aftermath. Adam and Eve were cast out, their eyes wide open. The garden fades behind them, and the world stretches ahead, raw, wild, uncertain. I linger in the shadows, watching. Some call me the villain, the serpent who ruined it all. But was it ruin, or was it revelation? I didn't force their hands. I offered a path. They walked it. And in their footsteps, every question we still wrestle with was born. What does it mean to choose? To know right from wrong? To face temptation and decide? So here's the hook, the thing that keeps you wondering. Was I evil for tempting Eve? Or was I the spark that made humanity human? My role in Eden wasn't the end. It was the ignition. The story didn't stop with that bite. It exploded into everything that followed. Every triumph, every failure, every cry for forgiveness. I, Samael, stood at the edge of creation and tipped the balance. The world changed, and you're still feeling the echoes of that moment today. Tell me, what would you have done? Would you have taken the fruit? Or would you have stayed in the garden forever? In the divine court, I stand as a figure draped in awe and dread. I am Samael, the strict prosecutor, the unrelenting voice of judgment. Picture a vast celestial chamber, golden light streaming through endless arches, the air thick with the weight of eternity. Here, I hold my place, my gaze piercing, my words sharp as a blade. My role is not to comfort or console. No, I am here to weigh souls, to measure deeds, to issue verdicts that echo through the heavens. My judgments are harsh, unyielding, carved from the stone of divine law. When I speak, the assembly trembles. When I point, fates are sealed. But there's a twist, a thread of mystery that even I cannot fully unravel. My severity, my iron will, doesn't always end where you'd expect. Sometimes, in the shadow of my harshest rulings, something extraordinary emerges. Mercy, redemption. Picture this. A soul stands before me, burdened by guilt, trembling under the weight of its choices. I raise my hand, ready to cast a sentence that could shatter them. The air grows still. The verdict falls like thunder. Guilty. Yet, in that very moment, a door cracks open. The punishment, brutal as it seems, becomes a forge. It burns away the dross, leaving something purer behind. The condemned find a path to grace they never saw coming. How does this happen? I don't bend the rules. I don't soften my stance. I am the storm, not the shelter. Yet, through my rigid justice, God's deeper will weaves its way. It's as if my severity is a chisel, striking hard to sculpt something beautiful. Think of a man who's lost everything, his pride, his hope, standing in the wake of my decree. He expects ruin. Instead, he finds a chance to rise. My harshness strips him bare, but in that nakedness, he discovers strength he didn't know he had. This is the paradox of divine justice. It's not a straight line. It's a labyrinth, twisting and turning, leading to places no one predicts. I've seen it time and again. A city faces calamity. My hand brings the plague, the flood, the fire. The people cry out, cursing my name. But in the ashes, something shifts. They rebuild, they repent, they reach for each other in ways they never did before. My judgment doesn't just punish, it transforms. It's a bitter medicine, yes, but one that heals in ways softer hands never could. I don't offer kindness. I don't whisper encouragement. I am the cold edge of truth, and yet, that truth carves a space for mercy to bloom. This complexity grips me. Even I, Samael, marvel at it. I am not the author of redemption. That's beyond my grasp. I am the instrument, the hammer striking the anvil. The sparks that fly? They're not mine to claim. They belong to a design greater than me. Imagine a courtroom where every sentence I deliver ripples outward, touching lives, altering destinies. A thief, condemned by my voice, kneels in despair, only to rise a teacher, guiding others from the path he once walked. A tyrant, crushed by my ruling, fades into dust, yet his fall lifts a nation to freedom. Justice in my hands is a double-edged sword. It cuts deep, but it also carves hope. So, listen closely. My role in the divine court isn't simple. It's not just punishment for punishment's sake. It's a dance, a fierce, unrelenting dance, where justice and mercy tangle in ways that defy understanding. Through me, the divine will unfolds, sharp and strange and beautiful. Step into this mystery with me. See what lies beyond the verdict. The story doesn't end with my gavel's fall. It begins. Let me take you deeper into my role, into the shadows I cast over humanity. I am Samael, and my influence stretches far beyond the courts of heaven or the ancient tales etched in scripture. I touch the lives of mortals in ways that linger, ways that haunt. My presence is felt in the shudder of fevered skin, the ache of weary bones, the quiet despair that settles like dust in a darkened room. Suffering. It's a word that clings to me. Illness and hardship are my fingerprints on the world, and through them, I weave a thread into God's vast tapestry of justice. Imagine a village struck by plague, the air thick with grief, the wails of the living rising like smoke. Parents clutch their children, their prayers unanswered, their hope fraying. There I am, unseen but undeniable. I don't revel in their pain. No, that's too simple a tale. I am not a sadist twirling a blade. I am a tool, an instrument of a system larger than myself. God's justice isn't always gentle. Sometimes it cuts, sometimes it burns, and I am the edge of that flame, the one who carries out the decree when mercy steps aside. But why? Why must suffering be my mark? Picture a man, strong, now bent by years of toil. His hands tremble as he lifts a cup, his breath shallow from a sickness that gnaws at him. He curses me, perhaps, or he pleads to the heavens. Yet in his struggle, something shifts. His eyes, clouded with pain, begin to see differently. He speaks to his family with a tenderness he never knew before. He finds faith, not in spite of the hardship, but because of it. I test him. I push him to the brink. And there, at the edge, he discovers strength he didn't know he had. This is my paradox. I bring the storm, but the storm clears the way. Think of a forest after a fire, blackened, silent, desolate. Yet beneath the ash, seeds crack open, life stirs. Suffering under my hand is never just destruction. It's a crucible. It refines. It reveals. The woman who survives illness emerges with a fire in her soul, a clarity she never held before. The child who endures loss grows into someone who understands compassion in a way the untouched never will. I am the shadow that forces light to shine brighter. Some call me cruel. They see only the weight I bring, the sleepless nights, the tears, the questions that echo unanswered. But step closer. Look again. My role is woven into a purpose you can't unravel with a single glance. God's justice isn't a straight line. It bends, it twists, it demands resilience. And I am the one who tests that resilience. I am the question whispered in the dark. Can you stand? Can you rise? Through me, faith is forged, not in comfort, but in the furnace of trial. Picture a battlefield strewn with the fallen. A soldier clings to life, his body broken, his spirit teetering. I hover there, not as a reaper eager to claim him, but as a witness. His pain is mine to oversee, his test mine to administer. If he falters, I am there. If he fights, I am there still. His suffering is a thread in the greater weave, a note in a song too vast to hear in full. I don't choose who bends or breaks. That's not my power. I am the weight, the pressure, the storm that reveals what lies beneath. And in that revelation, humanity finds its truth. Through me, you see yourselves. Through me, you endure. Now, let's turn our gaze to a chapter of Samael's story that pulses with intrigue and defiance. His partnership with Lilith. Picture this. Samael, the angel of death, a being forged in divine fire, standing beside Lilith, the mother of demons, a figure as fierce and untamed as the night itself. Their union isn't just a footnote. It's a seismic clash that rattles the foundations of the divine order. Together, they rule the Clypo, a shadowy realm where evil forces writhe and thrive, a place that hums with rebellion against the heavens. This isn't a mere alliance. It's a fusion of power that blurs every line we've ever drawn between good and evil. Who is Lilith to Samael? She's no subordinate, no quiet companion. She's a force, a storm of her own making. Cast out, vilified, she's the one who said no to submission, who carved her own path when the world demanded obedience. And Samael? He's the angel who fell not from weakness, but from an unyielding hunger for judgment. Together, they're a paradox made. Flesh, light tangled with darkness, order entwined with chaos. Their partnership isn't accidental. It's deliberate, electric, a bond that challenges everything we think we understand about the cosmos. Imagine the clip under their reign. It's not some distant hellscape. It's a kingdom alive with energy, a mirror to the heavens, but twisted in shadow. Here, Samael's stern hand meets Lilith's wild spirit. He brings structure, the weight of divine law, while she infuses it with raw, untamed will. They don't just coexist, they amplify each other. Evil forces bow to them, not out of fear alone, but from awe. Their rule is a dance, a tension-filled waltz where every step teeters on the edge of destruction and creation. What does this mean for the divine order? Everything. Samael was meant to uphold it, to be the blade of God's justice. But with Lilith, he turns that blade sideways. Their union questions the very nature of power. Is it control? Is it freedom? Is it both? The clip isn't just a rebellion, it's a statement. It whispers that even in God's design, there's room for defiance, for something wilder than obedience. Samael and Lilith don't destroy the order. They stretch it, test it, and force it to bend. And here's where it gets personal. Their story pulls us in, because it's not just about angels and demons. It's about us. Haven't we all felt that pull between what we're supposed to be and what we want to be? Samael and Lilith embody that struggle. He's the part of us that clings to duty, to rules, while she's the voice that screams for freedom, for something more. Together, they reflect the war inside every soul, the push and pull of light and darkness, the fight to define ourselves against the world. Their partnership isn't clean or simple. It's messy, raw, and alive. It's a collision of forces that shouldn't fit, but somehow do. Samael, with his cold judgment, and Lilith, with her fiery rebellion, rule the Klipo as equals. They don't erase the line between good and evil. They redraw it, daring us to look closer. This isn't just a tale of power. It's a riddle. What happens when the divine and the damned join hands? What does it say about the universe and about us? Step into their world. Feel the tension. The answers aren't easy, but the questions will grip you. As I sit with Samael's story, I find myself wrestling with its weight. It's unsettling to think of an angel, something we imagine as pure and holy, being so entwined with darkness and death. Honestly, it shakes me. Samael isn't a tidy figure I can box up and label. He's a storm of contradictions, a divine judge who tempts, a punisher who paves the way for mercy. Reflecting on him, I'm left wondering about my own assumptions. How often do I see the world in black and white when reality is so much messier? Samael's duality feels like a mirror, showing me that even in the divine, there's complexity we can't ignore. The takeaway here is profound. Samael teaches us that balance isn't simple. It's forged in tension. Good and evil, justice and mercy, light and shadow. They don't exist apart. They define each other. His role in the cosmic order reminds us that even the hardest moments, the ones that test us most, have purpose. And his partnership with Lilith? It's a stark nudge to question what we think we know about power and morality. So, where do we go from here? I urge you, dig deeper. Don't just take this at face value. Explore these ancient stories. Wrestle with their meanings. Ask yourself, what do I believe about justice, about good and evil? Talk about it. Share your thoughts with someone. Let the conversation spark something new. Samael's tale isn't just a relic of the past. It's a challenge for us now. Let it stir you. Let it push you to look beyond the surface. Because if an angel can embody both heaven and hell, what hidden depths might we uncover in ourselves and the world around us? The journey starts with a single question. Will you ask it?